What I'm calling Dallas Cowboys corridor. As you can tell, we are at a Cowboys home game. Yes, I understand that we are in Los Angeles, Inglewood, technically SoFi Stadium, but this is basically AT&T West. So follow me this way. We're gonna see if we can find a couple of fans. We are infiltrating enemy territory. The Cowboy fans are doing it right. We got the signage, we got the great food, we got the inflatables. Thoughts on today's game?
We're gonna beat the shit out of them.
Woo! You see this right here? How do you feel about today's game?
We better win, that's all I know.
How do you feel about Dak Prescott after last week's performance?
Dak Prescott has been very consistent with the division. He has took us back-to-back 12-5 seasons. You know what I mean? He has winning records above. You can say what you want about the past 7 years, but on our division, he has been owning it for years.
Are you a Dak rider or are you a Dak hater?
Before he broke his finger, I was a rider. Now, nah. They need to let him go now.
You know Dak Prescott's watching this right now, right? Actually follows the Can Fan podcast.
Look.
Go!
Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation, son! Let's go! Cowboys Nation represents! Cowboys Nation represents! Let's go! Get out of here!
Crack him if you got him.
Crack him if you got him, son. All day, every day.
Crack him if you got him, Seattle.
Here we are at Lumen Field. And is that a Harry Potter reference? Maybe. I don't know. I've casted a lot of Lumen spells.
Lumen videos.
We want to see Deuce represent. We want to see him repeat. I want some repeats. And I don't need 3 beats if they repeat.
I don't need 3 beats.
I don't need
if
3
they
beats.
repeat.
If they repeat. Let's go.
You don't think we're gonna make the postseason?
Maybe wild card.
So this is
Maybe wild card.
This is where I'm like, I'm good for a good ribbing, but like to say we're not gonna make the postseason, now I can't even argue with you because you've oh god.
You know it too. You know it.
Who's your quarterback?
Fucking we got
This is our year.
Look at those beers! Look at those beers! Look at those beers! Look at those beers!
Let's go! Let's go, Cowboys! Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation showing up!
Most pristine athletes in modern history playing in the NFL. Even the offensive linemen are incredibly athletic. I mean, these guys are over 300 pounds, and you know they can
not only the size, but the speed of the linemen. Are you kidding
fly
me?
on the field.
You're telling me a guy that's 330 pounds meant to block a guy that's 290 pounds is faster than me, a sporty 240?
High 240. High 240. High 240.
I could beat any one of those guys right now, and I've drank a 6-pack.
What? You're wearing Crocs.
My 40 time is better than any of them.
Erroneous. Erroneous.
Erroneous.
Erroneous on all accounts.
I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
How'd I do?
13-5.
Final quarter, here we go, baby! CD for the CD! And I'm going for 2. Woo! I don't know why my safety was just playing off so far.
Tackle him.
Yeah, well, I might be a boomer, but you sound like a pipsqueak. You don't even know how old I am.
No!
You little shit. You didn't win the game, I lost it!
Make sure you know where he is, because he understands how to
Call
get
that a
open
throw?
in key situations.
I might be old, but at least least I don't still piss my pants.
Protect you and your loved ones with Crackem VPN.
Ever heard the game Marry, Kill? Okay, like, yeah, I'm gonna give you 3 people, and you're gonna decide who will you marry, who will you who will you kill?
Okay.
Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, and Tony Romo.
Marry Jerry. He's got all the monies. Probably Tony. Dak Prescott. Gotta kill him.
I'm gonna Romo.
She's gonna with Romo.
I'm gonna marry Dak.
She's gonna marry Dak.
I'm gonna kill Jones.
She's gonna kill Jerry Jones. Who will you marry, kill between Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, and then Tony Romo?
I'm out.
Jerry Jones, you.
So Jerry.
Jerry Jones, you.
Okay.
You.
Who will you marry, Dak Prescott or Tony Romo?
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo.
So that means you would kill Dak?
Yes.
Marry Dak. Kill Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, poor Jerry.
Tony Romo.
Why not? He's probably one of the best commentators, announcers on the game right now.
Tony Romo? That's mine. That's mine.
Jerry Jones, right now. Right now.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it.
We need trash can.
Oh, here we go.
AJ, you have to sleep in this for the night. Yep. Football we already got. AJ's trying to take a piss right now. Trash can.
Stickers.
Stickers.
Couple stickies.
Couple stickies? Yes.
So we got a trash can. We're gonna go test it out in the toy aisle.
You're not getting it first. First try. He's not getting it. Give these guys a shot. They'll win a jersey if they get it. Oh, none of us made it. Come on, Dad. You get a free Cowboys jersey if you get it. None of us have made it. Dad's going for a shot. Come on, let's get it. Oh, that was the closest one.
Felt like the closest.
I was just thinking the last time we had this song, we were all waving our towels.
Oh, yeah.
Hyped right up.
Oh, yeah.
Just, we were alive. We were feeling good. The world was at our fingertips. The world was our oyster. And I think the mood's a little bit different in studio today because this is the very first off-season show of the year, which is never fun. It's way earlier than any of us expected. But before we get into the doom and gloom of the offseason, because we all still have the Cowboys blues, let's get one of those in us. Crack them if you got them.
If you got them.
Those will always make you feel better.
Crack 'em if you
Until
got 'em.
you're by yourself in your room crying. But right now, when you're with the boys, a couple crack 'ems will make you feel good. Bandwagon boys, how you feeling?
Been better.
Good.
Been better.
Been better? Still we're kind of getting used to this off-season thing.
It's Friday now.
It's Friday. At least it's Friday. We didn't go Wednesday. Usually we have a show Wednesday. We didn't do Wednesday because Canada, where we live, had some crazy-ass weather, so I wasn't able to get out to the studio. So I think AJ was snowed in. So we just kind of rolled to Friday, which is probably better. Gave us a couple more days to let everything kind of settle. I know on all social media platforms, anyone listening, they get the same thing. Like, if you're a Cowboys fan, doesn't matter where you are, you're going to get shit. You're going to get people talking smack. You're going to have everyone talking shit to you. Ad's son is a Cowboys fan now, and I asked him, you get made fun of at school this week? He's like, yeah, I got made fun of a little bit. But I said, that's part of it, baby. That is part of it. But welcome to the Cowboys Can Fan Show. We are here. We are going to be here all off season. But yeah, we got a bunch to talk about, a lot to unpack. And what do we got on the docket, fellas?
Well, I mean, look, we're going a little bit audible, but we can still keep the same structure. But I didn't really create any sort of list because I think what we need to talk about is obvious. And to be quite honest, I don't know how long each conversation might take. We could talk all day about Mike McCarthy and what that potentially means moving forward and what it means for this season, etc. So, topics on the docket. Obviously, we gotta have our final say with that wild card loss against Green Bay. We're also going to be, like I said, talking about Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, Dan Quin, any other potential coaching moves. I know I lumped Dak in there, but
hey, you always can lump them in.
Lump him in. We can also talk a little bit about the free agency internal and free agency external. Who do we want the Cowboys to re-sign, and who are we willing to let go and maybe try to replace with the rest of the NFL free agencies? And then also, we could get into a little draft talk. I mean, it's kind of, this is an open world video game right now.
Well, it's so open that we're going to be taking calls all episode. We're going to get a number up on the screen, and we're going to take calls. So if anyone's watching us and you have at any point, you can call in and you can bring up any topic you want, and we'll entertain it for a little bit until we don't like your opinion, and then we'll cut you loose. Just kidding. But yeah, we are doing call-ins today. This is the first time on a main event that we're going to roll call-ins throughout the full show. But I think it's warranted. I think there's Cowboys fans all around North America and the world that need to get a little bit of stuff off of their chest. It's been a wild week after that wild card game that, I'll be honest, no one expected. No, there's no way anyone expected what we watched last Sunday. And it was a crude awakening. And I'm going to even say it as much as this. It's probably the biggest letdown I've had since I've been a Cowboys fan, because I expected it to be at least a game, but I didn't expect us to be wiped out by halftime. Like all the other playoffs against San Francisco, against Green Bay prior with Dak. I mean, and then with Romo against Green Bay, and then Romo against New York, and all these other huge heartbreaking playoff losses. At least there was games involved, right? Like the Cowboys did not show up at AT&T Stadium. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was, but and we were kind of playing that side of, okay, they're gonna wake up, they're gonna wake up, and they just never did. They essentially got burned by the two factors we said they couldn't have happen, which were Aaron Jones being able to run and score, and not having the Packers get an early lead, and that happened instantly. So a lot of unpack there.
Fucking kill me.
Thoughts on the game, guys, now that you've had a few days to marinate?
Yeah, if you were asking me to try to find something good to take away from it, I just probably couldn't. So, that kind of tells the story of how I think the whole game went. I guess the only bright spot would be Jake Ferguson had a touchdown, and it was a nice-looking play.
He was the only bright spot, honestly.
Yeah.
He really was, and it goes back to, I broke down the two Dak interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
On both those interceptions, he had guys wide open. Literally guys wide open. He had CeeDee Lamb on the first one, wide open. And then on the second one, he had multiple guys. He had Jake Ferguson, he had Brandon Cooks, and he had Tony Pollard. And he decided to just stare down CeeDee Lamb. And you could see it right from the start of the game, guys. In the first quarter, you had Dak go over to CD to talk to him. Then you had Mike McCarthy go over to talk to him. And I don't know if there was something going on, but it's like, I just don't understand why you, and
You're saying Dak, CeeDee Lamb or Dak?
CeeDee Lamb and Dak were talking to each other.
Yeah. But
Sorry if I fucked up with what I was saying.
No, sorry, I wasn't actually.
Okay, so right in the first quarter, after the first drop on the first drive, it showed a cut scene to Dak talking to CD, and they both kind of looked like pissed. And then it showed CeeDee Lamb on the bench with Mike McCarthy coming over to talk to him. And this is in the first quarter. This was before any of the interceptions. And it's like, why are you guys already down and out? It's the start of the game. Even if you're down 7-0 at the start of the game, there was at that point so much football left, and just the body language. And we've talked about this a lot in the losses prior, that whenever they get down, and I mean, this could also just be the NFL waiting for it and finding their moments, but you always see this body language on the sideline, which you never, just no one ever seems to be up. They always seem to be just having that 1,000-yard stare, and they just seem defeated. Like when you look in retrospect now, during the game, I'm like, it's fine. They have time. But you look back at it now, and it's like the fight was already done. Like it's like a UFC fight, and the first time you got rung, you just were like, okay, well, I'm going to get knocked out in the fourth or third or whatever, right? So a little concerning that we've seen this kind of song and dance in multiple postseason games prior, that they're just not there to play at the start.
I think the concerning thing is, look, Mike McCarthy gets ragged on in this instance specifically about, because he gets ragged on about a lot of things, about his, he's a pretty low emotions dude. You're not going to get a lot out of him on the sideline, and that could be good or bad, right? But it does bring to worry, our top guys, CeeDee Lamb on the offense and Micah Parsons on the defense, and there's a handful of other great players, but those are kind of the leaders. I don't necessarily expect. I expect CeeDee Lamb to act like that. That's what a wide receiver kind of does, or traditionally they're allowed to get away with being a little bit moody because they're a super athlete.
They're
right?
divas.
So they're divas.
They always have been.
They always have been, and they get that. And so I'm not necessarily asking for CeeDee Lamb to step up. Micah Parsons for sure. He needs to stop. He needs to be more of the guy who goes around and builds morale rather than his guy who needs to have morale built up on him. And like you mentioned, Nant, this is a complete judgment based off of what we see from the camera. So
the 5 minutes total that we if you put them all together, all the clips, it's maybe a total of 5 minutes of stuff.
And outside of whenever I hear Michael Parsons speak, I think he says the right things. He seems to have that dog in him. However, I'm just that's one thing that's concerning. And the reason is because do we have on the coaching staff a guy who's going to fire people up? Dan Quin coaches from the booth. He's not down there with his boys, kind of being able to rah them up or say something to DeMarcus Lawrence to be like, hey, go and say this to that. Whatever he might be able to add, because he does have that energy, it seems like, right? Mike McCarthy does not have that energy. And so that's a kind of a worry, going back to what you said about just getting off flat-footed and looking defeated. We didn't really, at least obviously in the coaching, to this point, there's no change. And the DQ stays around, there won't be a change there either.
Yeah, so they're not firing DQ.
No.
The only way he's gone is if he gets a head coaching job. Yeah.
So just who is going to come in and be able to pick up that role, or is it going to be CD and Mike taking it that step next year?
We got a caller in line who's been lurking in the shadows.
Caller. Hello,
Ultra.
caller.
Oh, it's Ultra.
Ultra, what's up, man?
Ultra.
What's up, Ultra?
How you doing, bro?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. A little better. Still kind of feeling this, feeling the waters of the off season still, right? You still have that looming loss on the shoulders. You still have football happening this weekend, so it's kind of, you're like, fuck, we should have been there. So it's still kind of looming, that loss quite a bit. Obviously, it's less than a week. But how about you? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm fine with it. I said it. I said it last year, but I'm a little bit more optimistic. And you guys think Dan Quin is not gone? I think Dan Quin was going to get the Kellen Moore treatment, because the same exact response that Mike McCarthy had on Kellen Moore last year is exactly the same response he had at Dan Quin. The only reason they haven't moved on Dan Quin, just like last year they didn't move on Kellen Moore, is because he's going through the interview process. But they're not going to run back. They're not going to run back Dan Quin. I think Dan Quin is out of here once all the interviews. If he gets the job, that's what they're probably hoping for. But if he doesn't, no. But one of the things I got a little bit optimistic. I don't know if you know who Nick Harris is from DallasCowboys.com.
Yep.
He does the podcast. You know who he is?
Yeah, I know Nick Harris is.
And he was, he's one that doesn't shoot like a lot of stuff out like that's BS. And he was saying that they are going to be very proactive in free agents. He was adamant about that on 2 podcasts. So you told me, said, what would I do? Okay, we're stuck with Dak. I think Dak is going to be here for 2 more years. They're going to extend him to lower the cap and all that kind of stuff to make the moves. What would I would do for Dallas? I would use the money that I free up in cap space to go after defensive players like a Patrick Queen and a Tierra Tart, which is a defensive tackle, and I bring in Henry in for a 2-year deal.
Yep.
And then with the draft, I focus on the offensive side of the football. And I'm not talking about the lineman in the first round. I'm talking taking the best available offensive player or the best player, period, on the board. Last year draft, if you can look at it, they went because they couldn't stop the run, and they was drafted on need. Mozzie was a need pick. The scouts actually wanted Sam Laporta. That's who the scouts wanted. Will McClay, and because Dan Quin, and keep Dan Quin out of the draft room. Keep him out. He's responsible for drafting Calvin Joseph. He's responsible for Nashawn Wright. He's responsible for Mozzie. He's responsible for all these bad draft picks. Deron Bland was Will McClay pick, and Diggs was here before he got here. We're blessed with that, but keep that guy. You call it. Get Dan Quin out of here. Dan Quin is the problem. How you have Micah Parsons? I watched the tape over. How you have Micah Parsons on 39 dropping in coverage?
Yeah.
Your best pass rusher.
Yep. Well, and it's actually okay.
That's a fireable offense.
Well, now just because this is the flow's kind of taking us here with the Dan Quin stuff, I saw a few stats. I saw that we had 6 DBs on the field against. I say we, the Cowboys, had 6 DBs on the field in 48 out of 54 plays.
Ooh.
And it was showing it in the all-22 where they're clearly running, and you have these 6 DBs out there, outweighted, outmatched, and every time they picked up 5 to 10 yards when they did it, it felt like. So, and then that's not even talking about the times that we played zone coverage, right? So Dan Quin, and I know Dak threw a couple boneheaded interceptions, but the loss to me was on the defense. Like, the defense let them score on every drive. When it was the start of the game, the defense couldn't get a stop. They had a couple stupid penalties. Then obviously the Cowboys went out there, got a first down, then had to punt. But then the Packers go down and score again, right? So I feel like the Green Bay Packers only punted one time. So it's interesting that you say Dan Quinn's not back. They're hoping that he gets the head coaching job, so that it's not like, so they don't have any blood on their hands. That's an interesting take, and it'll be interesting to see if it happens. But I'm telling you, with a shitty game like that, if Dan Quin, all he had to do was anything but have a game like that, and he's a head coach somewhere. But his defense completely crumbled.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, go
ahead.
for it.
Sorry
No. Go. Shoot.
Okay, what I'm going to tell you is we underestimate Big Mike. In 2020, we had the worst defense. He fired his best friend, Mike Nolan.
Yep.
He got Mike Nolan out of there. He got Mike Nolan. He said that the offense was not moving the ball in key situations and all that kind of stuff. He got Kellen Moore out of there. And look at, we criticized Big Mike and me. I was pissed off, but he made Dak a better quarterback. Now he's got to find out, how can I take Dak in the playoffs? What you do is you build up that defense. You go get yourself a damn good linebacker, draft another linebacker. You beef up your linebacking core. You get another nose tackle, a veteran nose tackle. I'm not talking about, you can bring back Jonathan Haffney, but go out and get T.R. Tart. Go get that guy. Go put him in there, run stopper. And then you're getting Diggs back. You're going to get Overshown back.
Yep.
You're bringing back all the stars of that defense is coming back. Now what do? This is the thing that I try to say. Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, Biotish, Zach Martin, and Steele. They were more dominant in the run game when they had dogs in there like Brock Hoffman that wanted to fight even the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
He wanted to even hit the cheerleaders. In the Redskins game, the Commanders game, you saw them punish people when they were there.
Yeah, they're hungry.
And the big thing is not the coaching. If you go back and look at those 90s teams, you need excuse my language, you need an a-hole on a player. You need a player.
Wait, time out.
Holding other players accountable.
Ultra, time out. You said excuse your language, and then you censored yourself by saying a-hole.
Just say asshole.
I want to be, because I don't know if any kids are watching. I censor myself, and I'm not drunk, so that's kind of weird. So, but you need a Michael Irvin type player there, and that has to be Micah. Micah didn't talk to today until he finally blasted Skip Bayless. I can guarantee you that dude is not happy. And there was whispers a lot that there was.
But you need him to start blasting other people.
Not too happy with Dan Quinn's team.
But Ultra, he needs to start. He needs to start blasting guys on the team. He needs to. Like, I get it. He's tough on Twitter to fucking Skip Bayless. You know what I mean? He's got to start getting tough to other guys. When someone gets a stupid, like when Jaron Kearse, Sam Williams is getting one of their boneheaded penalties, Micah's got to go over there and get into their grill. You can't. This is the thing. Micah is the best defensive player on the team. It doesn't matter what he did if he had only one pressure in the game. Him going and getting in someone's face after they do something dumb, you can't say anything back to it. Like, if he gets in Jaron's face or if he gets in Sam Williams' face and says, these penalties got to stop, those guys are going to take that to heart way more than any coach saying it. But Micah hasn't showed that yet. But it also sucks when, he's mouthing off Skip Bayless, but it's like, dude, it's to some 60-year-old guy that's like 5'5" on Twitter. You know what I mean? So like it's kind of it
But he never
weighs.
did that before.
Yeah, because he attacked his podcast.
He never did that before. Yeah, but he never did that before.
Yeah, I
He never,
guess.
yeah, I understand you that stuff, but he never did that before. But the other problem that we have with Dan Quin wants to be buddies with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. He wants to be buddies with everybody. He's like Barry Switzer was. You know, that's a big complaint that Troy Aikman had with Barry Switzer. Now, if I'm the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, I was the coach, I would be sitting them down in my office and say, you know what? You're the best player on this team. You know what? I want you to see more leader. I want you to start policing these players on the field. And you have the perfect person on the offensive side of the football. That's another one. And I've been harsh on Jake Ferguson, but Jake Ferguson got heart and he plays with attitude. If we had like 4 more people like Jake Ferguson on that team will get over the hump.
He's a dog.
Jake Ferguson needs to be the one getting in their people's faces on that offensive team. Jack Martin that wants to be too nice.
Which you might see Fergie's still young, right? But Ultra, give us your last thought here. Last thought on anything. It can be draft, it can be the Green Bay game, it can be upcoming games, it could be what the weather's like in Puerto Rico. Whatever thought you have, and then we're gonna move on, and we got some more callers, so we're gonna keep rolling this thing.
My draft crush this year is Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU. Watch him. That's who I want at 24 this year.
What
round? I said last year, Kincaid. First round.
Like
so I said last year with Kincaid. So you guys take care and stay safe.
Yeah, you too. We
Don't
always
drink
love
too much.
Oh, we you know how we do.
All right, God bless.
Yep,
Okay,
appreciate the call. Appreciate the call in.
Right. Thanks for the call there, Ultra. So
you guys stay safe. See you at the draft.
Yeah, Detroit Rock City, baby.
Peace.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
One thing to look at here, and this might actually make sense, but Dallas Cowboys breakdown, and we're 18 million over the salary cap as is, but breakdown for the 2024 season, 181.5 million in the offense and only 80.7 million in the defense. So obviously, Dak comes with a hefty fine.
Well, you got
CeeDee
CD
Lamb
coming up.
comes with a hefty fine. There's higher paid skill positions on offense and defense. So obviously you don't really want a 50-50 split.
You always pay a little bit more for those, those skill guys.
For those skill guys.
Especially now when you see the wide receiver markets everywhere. Like Michael Gallup. The good thing is they get rid of Michael Gallup. At least they can have some of that money to go to paying CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, but you're right. I didn't know it was that
$100 million difference.
Yeah,
now
crazy.
Like, 61.9 million of that is Dak's contract.
Exactly.
So, like, I do agree with Ultra shuffling his contract as minimal as you can add years, because when I look at what the Cowboys need to do, and going back to just the coaching chat here, Mike McCarthy, I was wavering. Get rid of him. I could have gone either way. If they ended up moving on from him, I would have been like, okay, this is kind of exciting. And we can talk about how you feel about a rebuild if that was the case, but it's not in this season. I don't mind hanging on to Dak too, because there's obviously nothing you can do.
You're married to him.
You're married to him for this season. For the team to actually make cap, they are going to have to restructure. So maybe they do a 2-year deal, and next year's a little bit easier if you want to move on from Dak. I was prepared mentally for kind of a cleaning of the coaches, but then after just considering and hearing people's opinions, and then when the news broke that Mike McCarthy was sticking around, Anthony, you just had a little kind of quick thought summary in our chatty chat with all the nudes, and it made sense. Like, okay, you're right. Like, can't move on from Dak, so do we bring a guy in, have him run with Dak, who maybe he's not Dak's guy, and there's that kind of awkwardness. You're giving up that year anyways. At least this way we look at it. Offense wasn't necessarily a problem outside of a couple games. But ultimately, the stats were good. What we saw was good. I still think Cowboys were a little light in the weapons. Didn't have had like a kind of bottom tier 2 running back. I like Tony Pollard, but
the stats say he was tier 2.
He was a
little
bit better than average.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, no one's making trades for him. And also on offense, like we had high hopes, but Gallup was pretty much invisible until the last game. He just decided to show up. Ferguson really turned it on. So we got Ferguson and CD Lamb to count on. So my mind goes to like, okay, bring them back, add those two elements that we're missing, another solid wide receiver and a running back who can do the job, or two. And then where you can do some big moves is on defense. And if Dan Quin goes, we still got our key points locked up for another 2 years, right? At least.
Yeah, you got Deron Bland, you got Trevon Diggs, you got Micah Parsons. I don't know what D-Law's contract is, but I believe we still have D-Law. You got Sam Williams. You have Dono Dubs still around. Yep. So there's Marquez Bell, Damone Clark.
LVE.
LVE's going to be coming back. So there's still a lot of guys.
Hooker's there. Osa is there, I believe. Chauncey, Dorrance Armstrong. So, like, a lot of our starters would be returning. But if Dan Quin does go, I think I'm more happy that it's that side of the ball because we love what Dan Quin did. I would love to see what another strong defensive coordinator can do with this team. I just feel Dan Quin kind of has shown too often, more so than the offense, because offense looks like it did adjust. Defense either doesn't adjust or they adjust incorrectly.
Well, that clip that went a little viral of you having
conniption,
the seizure on which was very warranted. Yeah. I just didn't have the emotion at that point of the game. I was just kind of like tapped out already. But when he's wide open, that like how the hell does that happen?
And I think there was like 2 or 3 passes like that. That one went for a touchdown. The other ones, the dude was standing in the middle of the field
with nobody near him.
And like you just mentioned, whatever it was, like 90% of the snaps were with 6 DBs out there. And whether or not that was like designed because this is our best option because we're very thin at linebacker, okay, but it still doesn't make you feel good. And actually, one last thing on that, this great point by Ultra 2 to say get DQ out of the draft room. Maybe there's too many cooks in the kitchen and you can't satisfy everyone.
It's like us when we're deciding what fast food place to hit up in the States.
You
we don't know.
You can't do it.
We just need one guy to pick and the other 2 to fall in line.
Exactly, exactly. If we're all deciding we're going to be traveling for days.
After the loss, and before we got a couple callers, and so before I bring one in, I just wanted to get this out there. I was all for cleaning house in terms of just, I think offense, as much as the offense has done a good job this year in terms of adapting and kind of moving forward, like they still needed to switch whatever the F they were doing in the wild card game. Defense seems to just be focused. I mean, Ultra looks like a genius all the last 3 years talking about Dan Quin. I'm just being a little being a little funny here.
But you got to remember the San Francisco losses, defense balled out. Like
true.
Defense balled out in both those San Francisco losses.
The one stat I'm
talking about the postseason game.
Postseason
losses.
Well, so bringing up San Francisco, like Dan Quin is 0-6 against his offensive coaching staff. He's never won against Shanahan. He's never won against Mike McDaniels, and he's never won against.
But again, San Fran scored 19 points last year. They scored 19.
We still lost.
I get that, but it's not like they scored 48 points.
But the biggest thing
it wasn't 27-0.
Why is he failing to make the adjustments when something's not working on defense?
Dan Quin doesn't, like, I'm just going back to last year. I know it doesn't matter, but Dan Quin going back to last year when they lost 19-12, I mean, 19 points against a team in the postseason should be enough to hold your defense to hold up to win that game. As far as fast forwarding to this year's fucking wild card blunder, I'm not defending Dan Quin here. I'm just saying.
Oh, you
you can't. It's not a defensive coordinator versus a head coach.
Totally.
Like that you can't compare that. If he was the head coach and had lost to these guys that are head coaches, like you can go head coach mano a mano, wins losses, but to put a defensive coordinator against a head coach, there's so many parts in a game that a defensive coordinator doesn't have control over.
I guess where I was going before you jumped in there on it was, is Dan Quin stuck too far in the past in terms of what the new NFL is doing?
Man, we were all about to suck his D last year to come back. So it's like,
we wanted him to be head coach.
So that's a good, it's a good point.
It is a good point.
He did, Dan Quin did lose to those teams, but even the loss against Miami was close.
It was exactly
Close loss.
And the defense only allowed the highest scoring offense to put up 22 points.
Yeah.
So it's fun to find these coincidences that Dan Quinn's coordinators have beat him, but it's like
I still like bringing I believe something needs to change in that locker room. I'm not saying Dan Quin is the person who should be changed, but if he, but like that looks like it's the most obvious one that will happen because offense ain't changing. Schottenheimer's going to stay around more than likely. I can't see McCarthy.
Well, the offense cooked this year. It really did. I know it didn't in the wild card loss, but you got to think that offense's first year under Mike McCarthy's and Schottenheimer's offensive coordination, offensive scheme. And I know we're talking regular season. I know people get really upset when we talk about regular season stats because they don't matter when you lose and get embarrassed in the wild card. But it's going to be a second year in that scheme. And it was just this wild card game was just every single person on the team. We're not just talking head coach. We're not just talking OC, DC. Everybody played awful.
Came out flat.
Only person that gets their flowers, and AJ already said, was probably Jake Ferguson.
Yeah.
He was the only person, and he had fire and he had heat. But who do we got on the line? Let's get a caller.
We're going to bring in the person who was at the wild card game on was that Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday.
It was your boy and ours, Bot G, aka Boots on the Ground, Eric.
Boots on the ground.
Boots,
what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
We got you, brother.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good, man. Good.
Good, but you're never allowed to go to another game. You're never going to, unless it's with us. Playoff game next year, we're all going together.
I was gonna say that. I think that's what was missing. I definitely miss you guys out there. But you can't put all the blame on me. I wasn't on the field.
True.
Freaking trying to establish the run for some reason, trying to run the offense through Pollard for whatever goddamn reason. Only throwing to CD on third downs when everybody knows he's getting the ball and he's like double, triple coverage. It was stupid. I also wasn't the one that had 6 DBs out there playing zone and leaving guys freaking wide open 15 yards away from the nearest defender. So, but other than that, yeah, go ahead and blame me.
We would never, Boots, my only point of that blame was to try to get us to go with you next year for the postseason. That was the only way of doing that. But I do have a question now that you brought up some of that stuff as far as like the players being on the field, not doing their thing. You were live. You were there at the game. Again, I feel hard. So was our buddy Taylor Chima, friend of the podcast. He was down there. I just feel heartbroken for you guys because I know how we felt in the studio, and being there live must have just like, at what point did the stadium start to kind of turn, or just kind of when did it start clearing out?
I think the momentum, the mood, the vibe, definitely by the end of the first quarter, I think everybody was pretty sad, and I saw people leaving at halftime. By the start of the fourth quarter, it was starting to look pretty empty down there. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of those fans, well, I call them fake fans. I guess they wanted to beat traffic or get out of there. But the way I see it, if you live, breathe, and you win Cowboys, you die Cowboys, and I'm there to the end because if we win, I'm gonna gloat and I'm gonna need a Packer fan to make fun of. So I'm gonna take my licks. I'm gonna wait at the end, and if somebody wants to talk their smack, they earned it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. You wait till it hits 4 zeros. Until that clock hits 4 zeros.
Yeah.
You fucking sit there and you take it because you then earn the fucking right. When the Cowboys are up, you've earned that. You've watched it. You've been there. Like, I'm the same way as you. I'm sitting there in that seat until the bitter end. It could be 100-0. I ain't leaving. I don't care about traffic.
That would be exciting. That would be something exciting to see, though. Even if you lost
100-0, you're like, wow, this is like a record breaker.
I was there. History being made. Yeah. Regardless, I'm not gonna let it take away from my first visit to AT&T. It was weird because I've been to so many other stadiums, but I've never been to AT&T because I had gone to Texas Stadium in the past. But I just, for one reason or another, never made it out to AT&T, and it was like this weird feeling of me coming home. I don't know if you guys ever experienced that, but it just felt right.
I'm never gonna spend $400 on a ticket plus, and that's USD. I actually I don't know what the prices were for a playoff game there. Playoffs.
I paid $450 to sit in the front row,
Well, I mean,
right behind that field goal.
I will.
Pretty good.
I do it.
For playoffs.
Pretty good.
Let me finish that
That's
thought.
really good.
I would of course pay that money, but I'm not gonna leave a game. Like if I pay the money,
Oh,
I'm
right, yeah,
staying
yeah.
there till.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we usually stay there till.
We get kicked out.
Yeah.
we usually have security telling us, "Okay, you guys got to go," because we're all hammered usually, and security's like,
yeah.
"Hey, you got to leave now."
But
No, I was pretty hammered walking in, and that first quarter sobered me up real quick.
I
Aw,
bet.
man.
And it's look, it's you go one way or the other, and I'd probably end up going down. I'm going to spend another $200 at this game in drinks alone.
Now, yeah, that's when you're just when you're just pounding them back. Boots, I got to ask you what we got you on the line. Next year, the Cowboys travel to Santa Clara. Is that where the Niners play? They travel there to play, and we've kind of told each other that any of the West Coast games we're going to. So we're going to be going to the San Fran game next year. Would love to have old Bootsy with us because we know it can get a little rowdy down there. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any games marked
No,
off yet?
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I'm 0-2 going to Santa Clara, and
He needs
last
Can
one
Fan.
was the playoff game and then the regular game. So I would love to test the theory that I need the full Can Fan cast
Yeah.
Yes,
to
sir.
go there with me because I feel like there's some type of synergy there. And
Yeah, I need the
and we could,
Avengers.
yeah, exactly. Avengers assemble. Which actually would be a
Boots is
good
Hulk.
offseason
Boots
question.
is
Like,
Hulk.
who? I'll be Hulk.
Yeah, you're Hulk. I
So
feel like
that-
you're the nicest
and,
guy, but if you get rage mode, I feel like you get green. I feel like you could turn
Yeah.
into the Hulk.
All right, who would Anthony? Anthony, who would you be?
I would probably who's the hottest chick?
Ants would be.
And
who would Ants be?
Who's the hottest
Ants-
chick?
Ants-
Captain
Ant-
America.
Ants Thor.
I
Yeah,
don't.
Thor.
I mean,
Ants Thor, right? The third Thor.
yeah, the fat Thor.
Still is tough. Still is
Okay,
tough.
Still
nailed it.
Fat Thor.
Strong
Hey,
loser.
Fat Thor is still badass.
I'm
you
da-
know?
I'm-
he
I-
still saved the universe.
He's arguably cooler than Jack Thor, to be honest.
Oh yeah, Jack Thor is just a regular.
You're Captain America.
I was gonna say I was gonna be.
You're Iron Man.
I was gonna say
Iron Man. No, he's
with all his
definitely Iron Man.
all the technology, and then AJ's
yeah, okay,
Hawkeye.
technology. Yeah,
Ant-Man.
I was
Fuck
gonna
that,
say
I'm not
I was gonna
Hawkeye.
say Hawkeye to
Hawkeye's
AJ.
the, Hawkeye's the worst Avenger. I'll take Captain America,
No.
or I'll even take Squirrel
Ant-Man.
Girl over.
Ant-Man. What about
It could be Ant-Man.
AJ Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah,
Ant-Man
I'll take
is low
Scarlet
key
Witch.
probably
Spider-Man.
the funniest of all of them. So I would say
Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Yeah, I could go with that.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
I don't know. I think Ant-Man's good because Ant-Man's funny. And
Yeah.
AJ would be using
Or
his
what's that
power
guy
all creepy.
from? Just he's gonna be like the fox from Guardians of the Galaxy. What's his name?
Oh,
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocky.
Yeah, I can see that. The yelling, the attitude, but the jokes.
Okay.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
he's
actually.
Rocket. He can
Yeah,
be
I
Rocket.
can be Rocket.
Rocket's badass.
Brother Adrian says that Ant is Captain America, Ad is Iron Man, and Alex is Ant-Man. We already kind of said.
Okay.
Captain America's too nice.
Yeah, that's
He's
not
too
it.
nice. I need
Oh,
somebody
come on.
like
AJ's a teddy bear though.
no, but Captain America. They're saying for
For
me,
you,
like
for
I'm
Ant.
too mouthy. I'm too heated. Captain America's too by the book.
Actually, is Boots Hulk and Ant's
Ant's
She-Hulk?
Wolverine.
Ant's She-Hulk?
I'm She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
It's not an
Nice.
Avenger.
You're my cousin.
Okay, Boots. So I got to ask you, going into the offseason, because this is the very first CanFan offseason show of the year, unfortunately. What do you got a thought on draft? Anything about the draft? Anything about?
What comes to mind when
Yeah.
you think Dallas Cowboys offseason 2024?
Well, I honestly never think I'd say this, but I'm going to agree with the Ultras comments. His answer
Whoa.
earlier was everything that I was thinking. Guys, Sober Ultra is like the nicest guy. He's super mellow. Like,
Phone Ultra.
know,
Phone
give it-
Ultra is nice.
Phone Ultra.
Yeah, it's
Phone, he's always super chill and cool on the like. He says in chat
Yeah.
that on chat it's like his out, like it's the way he gets rid of his pent up being a Cowboys
yeah, he's
fan.
venting.
Super
venting.
super chill. Every time we've talked to him, probably I'd say at least probably close to 10 times.
Yep.
And he's always
Yeah.
super cool, super chill,
Knowledgeable.
knowledgeable,
Like
and
he
has
c-
great takes.
Yeah. You know what? As far as the draft goes, we definitely got to address our running game, our defensive tackles, and he mentioned, loading up on linebacker. I know DeMar Overshown is going to be badass when he gets back. I don't know if there's anybody out there that really stands out to me. I almost feel like we need to address some of these issues by going through free agency, not just through the draft, and going
Mhm.
that. But honestly, at this point, like not that I'm not thinking Cowboys. I'm just more of like, okay, let's just because honestly, this is the first time I've actually talked post game since the loss. Because everyone has been reaching out to me and like, hey, what do you think? What do you think? I'm like, I'm not ready to
This is the
talk.
place.
Don't care.
This is
I'm-
this is the place to come and
Yeah.
share those thoughts.
Yeah, and everyone's just like, everyone's poking at me like, wait, what do you think? Hey, can you tell me? And then I saw you guys the show popping up, and I was like, you know what? There's an elephant in the room. Let's
talk.
just shoot it in the head and move on.
So,
let's
I
talk
like
about
that.
this.
Just blast that elephant right in its face with a 12 gauge and
I like
At least.
I like looking in free agency. We don't have a lot of recent history that
or resources.
or resources. Well, that's what I was getting to. Right? Is that the history is not there necessarily. But even let's say that Jerry changed his mind and allowed for a little bit more spending in the NFL free agency and not just re-signing guys of our own. There's an $18 million deficit at the moment. We know they shuffle money around, so I have no doubt that they're going to be able to easily get under, say, 10 million under. Dak's contract is a big looming issue, which could free up, say, 30 or so million this year alone if they figure out a proper way to.
Which they're going to.
That,
They're
which
going to.
will.
They're restructuring them and adding even maybe a couple years. Like that's the only. If you think you're in win now mode, that's the only way to then get those resources to then at least try to attain or retain some of these free agents that could possibly help this team.
Right. Well, honestly, the biggest draft or actually the best acquisition that Jerry Jones can do this offseason is to fly down to LA, figure out who the hell works for the Dodgers, because that Ohtani deal where they it's like the biggest contract of all time, but then he's not getting most of that money till like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Like they need to figure something like that out.
The
where, like, we can just put together...
layaway Ohtani deal.
Well, that's the thing with baseball, though. They have these crazy decade-long. Like, I think the only person even close to that is like a Patrick Mahomes in football. But maybe you're right. Maybe they try to do something like that. Dak. Dak is Dak's probably only getting one more contract realistically, unless ends up playing for journeymaning it a little bit. But maybe they just heavy load it, like Boots is saying, like. But it's hard. This is the issue. This is the issue with the NFL. None of them no one wants to be on anything more than a 4-year deal.
But exactly, and this is what I ask you. Do you just sign Dak for another 2 years to help spread that 30 million, 60, 70 million dollars, whatever it actually adds up to? I think it's closer to 60. But spread that out over 2 years, then you just have him for 2 years, or do you lock him in for another 4-year deal? And then get a little bit more of a discount and possibly end up not even having to pay some of that cash.
You have to have in this one a fucking get out free card, though. They didn't do that in this last one.
Well, he has a no trade clause.
No trade clause. He can't be released.
Well, he's not going to re-sign another deal with another no trade clause.
Yeah, he has to.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to. This is the thing. He fucked himself by losing the wild card. If he takes them to an NFC Championship game, Dak Prescott becomes the highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now. Like him losing and the way he played in the wild card game actually kind of plays in favor for the Jones family.
Well, they'll use it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, selfishly, I just bought me a Dak jersey. I had to because it was a whiteout, and all my jerseys are like mostly blue. So I'm like, I'm gonna get me a Dak jersey. So I want to be able to wear it for another 4 years at least.
Yep.
So, but besides that, realistically speaking, extend him for 4 years. It's not his fault that we lost. The guy drops 32 points. He led the league in passing yard touchdowns. The most explosive, one of the most high scoring teams in the last 2-3 years that we've had with Dak. As captain of the boat there. It wasn't his fault. I mean, at the end of the day, if your defense allows 48 points from the opposite team, you're going to lose. And Dak can't play offense and defense. So I'm like, keep him. I mean, what else is out there? There's no real guarantees.
Yep.
You can, try to get a Caleb Williams coming out of USC, but you don't know if he's going to.
We do not want that drama. You see, he's like, he wants assurance that the Bears are going to trade their first round pick. So that he doesn't go to Chicago.
You just tell him to shut up and you draft him anyways. I draft him in spite of that.
Yeah.
If I'm the Bears,
Yeah.
you draft him, and then you know what? Okay, if he
Someone
actually
wants him, they can send the house over.
yeah, send the fucking house, or this guy can sit on the bench for his whole rookie contract.
I think some attitude like that is going to tank him for a lot of teams. Like,
Man.
who's going to want to bring that guy
Oh
on?
yeah.
I would honestly, I'm such a vindictive person, and that's probably why I'm not in charge of an NFL team. But I'm drafting that fucking diva. You haven't even set foot in the NFL, and you're already making demands. Sorry, you're coming to this.
You know how
team.
many guys have had the hype and then just fucking dropped an egg?
Exactly.
So like
everyone
get on like before slow your roll.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Okay, Boots.
Absolutely.
Final thoughts on well, anything. It doesn't even have to be on the game. This weekend's
know what?
games, whatever you're feeling.
I'm switching over to hater mode. I don't care who wins now, as long as it's not the Niners, because I know, what is it? The Patriots got 7 championships. The Steelers have 6 or
Yep.
7,
Six.
and then it's us and the Niners at 5, right?
Yep.
So I don't want anybody else going above us. So I don't care who wins at this point, as long as it's not the Niners. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing you guys over at Oxnard Training Camp.
Hell yeah.
In a few months. That's going to be what, April, May?
No, July. I wish. I think it's August.
Oh yeah. Oh, August. Yeah. No.
draft.
Yeah, you're right.
The draft
is
April is draft.
Yeah, and then but the training. I wish we were seeing you in April, but yeah, the training camp early August is when we were down there last year in 2023.
Yeah. So that's the next milestone that I'm looking at, and I'm excited about that. And then talking about going to Santa Clara, I'm gonna make plans to go for sure. Hopefully, you guys can make it happen. We can all be out there and have a. I do got some friends out there. Last time we had some really good interviews and stuff with a lot of people that were there. So, I mean, there is a little bit of a Cowboys presence out there, and we will be welcomed, especially with this growing fan base that Cowboys Can Fan has quietly, low-key, almost 15,000 subscribers, guys. I don't know if you're paying attention at the numbers there.
Yeah, it's we keep track every day.
You wake up in the morning and you're like,
okay, I wake up at like 3 a.m. sometimes and just I wonder what the sub count's at.
Well, low key, when we lose, when Cowboys lose, when Cowboys lose, we do really, really well on the channel.
I saw the 60,000 views on all the hate.
No, Bot G, it's cracked 200K. The one video's cracked 200K
That's
now,
insane.
which is pretty sweet.
Oh, and you know what? Actually, I'm lying. Before draft and before training camp, there is a Dallas Cowboys golf tournament in Bakersfield here in California. It's going to be put on by SCDCFC and then One Star Family.
Nice.
They're supposed to have like Kenny Gant and all these ex-Cowboy players that are supposedly going to be out there and playing a little bit of golf with everybody. So I'm going to make every effort to attend that. And that'll probably be the next boots on the ground segments out there.
That's why you're Boots, baby.
AJ and I are gonna come down and be the beer girls at
Yeah.
the beer cart.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna bring all my singles.
I'll be dressed.
Bunch of singles, crispy ones.
I'll be dressed up in my DC cheerleaders
your
outfit,
Dallas
just hammered,
Nice.
hammered with a
You're
case of
gonna
Yellow
get.
Bellies.
You're gonna leave with paper cuts from all the dollar bills.
Oh hell yeah, on my ass. Yeah.
Hey Boots, we love you, buddy. And again,
Love you guys too.
I'm sorry that you had to witness that absolute slaughter. It was unfortunate, but
good.
always a pleasure to hear your voice, my man.
We'll be in touch soon, guys.
You bet.
Peace,
Love you
Boots.
guys.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Love
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Boots, go check him out on.
He's on
Was it
TikTok. He's got TikTok. He's got
Instagram though. I
and
think.
Instagram. BotG_Eric.
Thanks to you guys. BotG.
There he is.
BOTG_Eric.
Hit
There
him up.
it is.
At TikTok also, and I actually uploaded a bunch of videos this week from interviews that I did out at the tailgate parties. Out
Yeah,
there,
those are fun. Those are a lot of fun, and appreciate you doing that, my man.
No, of course.
I thought he left for a second, and then you scared the poop out of me there, Bot G.
All right.
Hey, don't call it a comeback. I never left.
See you, Bots.
All right, guys, take care.
Peace.
I call them bots. It's
Bots?
really, it's Boots.
Jobin? You call him Jobin?
Jobin.
Let me get one of these in here. Crack him.
Crack him if you got
See,
him.
it's like it's just it's nice talking to some Cowboys fans. It's therapeutic, man. Because
Well,
all
that's
I've been doing the last 4 days is battling.
Right.
I've been and not even really battling because you can't really say much.
I like the comments though, where someone will say a point, whether you agree or not. Then you come back with something, and it doesn't immediately deteriorate into like oh, haha, cowgirls or something like that. But there are, there's a great mix of
That's
comments.
10% of the comments.
It is, but you expect a lot more, right? I just have to say, the Packers fans obviously came out and gave us a little kick in the ribs, and that happens, right? But there's a lot of people out there who were also giving like some quality comments.
There's actually some pretty funny comments too.
Some funny stuff. I don't know if it's because we're both cold weather people, Canadians and Wisconsinites, and so maybe we have this kind of
just like
this common nasally bond. But yeah, that's I was. Maybe it's just because there was a lot more I was paying attention to. Because during the season, I try not to read too many comments. I know that's kind of silly with us being social media.
I'm always in there. Don't you worry. I'm always in there.
And I know you've got better fighting wings than me. So, but yeah, it was kind of nice to see a team out there who's
I always
got
like
a little bit of
they're
smartness.
I like the hey, we kicked your ass, but you guys are funny. I'm going to subscribe.
Yeah. We have a couple of those.
We have a bunch of those
in the chat right now.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Like guys that found us. Yeah, we're the first. And again, we'll never go looking for the fight, but I'm good at posting shit, talking shit, because that's part of the game. But when you lose, you got to be able to take it. I just want it to be either witty or like have some sort of objective, right? Like. Yeah, comment, not just LOL ... cowgirls suck.
I don't even mind the guys who just come in and say go Packers.
Yeah, I don't care.
Just leave it.
They're on cloud 9.
Yeah,
they went into that game the 7th seed. We were the 2nd seed. They're stoked, right?
Here's what you should do. Social media 101 as a user, okay? Not as a content creator. Just read the first couple comments when you go to something, and if someone's already said what you're going to put, aka cowgirls suck, just like that one, and then that's gonna
reply even to that.
But like when you're going to say the most obvious thing, just check to see if it's there already, and let's just help build up that engagement. We'll take the comments anyway.
Yeah, we'll take it. Keep commenting.
There was this one guy in the chat, and I'm gonna say his comment. I'm gonna say something else that he brought up
and then I'm gonna dox him.
And he's gonna dox him. Got your IP address, Quadzilla. I hope he has some nice, massive quads.
No, he just rides quads.
Yeah.
Possibly because he's a Packers fan. He goes, we talk a bunch of shit because that's what sports is about. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what we're talking about. We'll clap back as long as
I wasn't complaining about shit talking.
I don't go out of my way to go find a Packers channel or X channel to then comment. You want to talk shit? Yeah, let's talk shit. I'll make a video talking shit.
Yeah.
But I'm never going
to find it.
And obviously we post stuff. The reason we posted a 7-minute long video of our agony of us being in complete misery and watching from the start to finish of us deteriorate is because we want people to comment. We want people to talk shit to us. We want engagement. So it's part of the game. And we said this before we got on, or maybe it was while we were rolling. The bad times suck, but when the good times are rolling, it's that much better. So bring the heat.
I love the whole thing that we do. I love the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't attach so much of my identity to it that, like, of course it hurts when your team loses and like can put you into a bit of a funk. And it happens to me, like even first game of the season to last game of the season. If the Cowboys lose, it affects my Monday. Okay.
100%.
But I'm never like, you just, even in person, like when I sit, there's some people that we know, fans of other teams. And when we sit down and they start going off on Cowboys, I'm almost like I'll let you get your licks in, and I don't even reply unless it's something that's an interesting, because I'm just like, look, I don't care enough to like have our relationship now only revolve around
this thing.
You hating Cowboys and then me trying to hate, like, you know how many people hate the Cowboys? It's
everybody. Like, if you're not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, you more than likely don't like them.
Don't like the
100%.
Eagles. Respect the Eagles. Don't like the team. Don't like 49ers, respect the team. But outside of that, I don't really go looking for teams to lose. Like, like I want them to lose, obviously, because we see them. And
in the 3 hours that you're watching the game.
And exactly, no, but like throughout the season, that's our those two teams are our competition. That's why I'm more excited for them to lose. But like you said, after a loss, I'm going to our content or other Cowboys content. I'm not out looking for Eagles to be like we might say something, fuck the Eagles, okay? But that's on our own show. I'm not going to another channel and writing fuck the Eagles. So, but again, roundabout too. Please come in.
Yes, we do love it.
Because
Like it was funny. Some of the shit was fucking. It was hilarious.
It's funny, and I get it, and I'm more so saying that Cowboys fan specifically is not going out picking fights with people after games, but but like it is part of it. I totally agree. It's super fun. And I can't say I've never done it because if I go through my history, I probably had written a drunk one or two or, or 3 or 4 of my day.
I will say this, Packers fans, you guys lose tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Anth's best coming back. I will spend a full 5 hours on Sunday going to people that commented on our stuff about shit about the Packers, and I will be bringing those receipts.
Great segue. Brother Adrian just wanted to say, what about Ant talking to the Eagles fan in Vegas?
That's in person, though.
Sometimes we will.
That's for content for our page.
100%. I just wanted to bring that up because it's a callback.
And that guy, look, if you walk around dressed up as Super Cowboy, not our Super Cowboy.
No, the Philly sports guy. The best.
Yeah,
One last attraction on that. The Philly sports guy, when you see him sitting there like this after the Eagles, also like, you imagine having to drive home like this.
Nate text me.
Actually, I think they texted me too.
When it showed him in the Philly game, he's like, "Hey, there's that fucking guy you told to fuck off."
What I was gonna say there was just that if you walk around you're walking around with a sign over you that says "Come and talk shit to me," right? Like, so he knows that too, right? So
okay, so here saying that if they lose tomorrow against the 49ers, you're gonna go back and shit talk them. The one thing that this
Not
guy
even really shit talk, just say bang bang Niner gang.
The Quadzilla says playing with house money. We're just glad love doesn't suck.
True.
My question is now that they beat the Cowboys and they've advanced even further, when are they still gonna? Do you think Packers fans are just gonna use that as an excuse? Like, well, we're playing with house money this year, so we're just happy that we got this far. Or is it now saying like, do they like? Are they hoping they're gonna get further? Do they think they're gonna
there's
get
no
more?
way. That's it. And I'm not saying the guy that's in the chat right now is using it as an out, but that's an easy way to be like when they do get their asses kicked tomorrow to be like, well, we were playing with house money. Of course they want to beat the Niners tomorrow. Of course they're waiting for this storybook run that they shouldn't have even been in the postseason. They went on a crazy 3-game run at the end of the year. They lose any of those games, they don't make it.
And other teams had to lose.
Other teams had to lose. Then they smack the Cowboys at AT&T stadiums. The Packers have more wins in that stadium than the Cowboys do. More playoff wins. Playoffs.
Packers are
the hottest
I'll
team.
say this. I don't want to talk too much about that game because it's not our boys. But the Packers definitely have made it more interesting with that victory. If it was just a quick, a lower scoring game and they'd won by a field goal or something like that or less, it would be a lot. I'd be a lot more. Oh, this is obviously going to be an easy one for San Fran. But the way that they played, if they come out and do any bit of that on offense to San Francisco, and I'm not saying that they can, because Cowboys definitely helped them win that game by
imploding
like poop. But that it's made Friday a lot more, or sorry, it's made Saturday a lot more exciting for that game. And I think
which we are live streaming tomorrow.
We will be live streaming. So if you are Packers Nation and you come back and join us, we'll be live streaming and watching. Actually, not too terribly sure who I'm cheering for yet. I'll decide that by tomorrow.
I think I'm just going in neutral.
You can go in neutral and then pick. But much more exciting game. Packers should definitely be thinking that they can beat the San Francisco 49ers.
You have to. They came out fired up, and it's what it is, man. You got to show up fired up. The difference is, and we're not going to get into this lots because we're going to be talking about it tomorrow, but that San Fran team actually has linebackers. But do we have any other callers on the line?
Well, they left.
Oh, they left.
So that's what happens.
Yeah.
We got our number up on the stream, 1-360-209-5623 with a long ass meeting ID and passcode.
You have to
pop
do
that in.
it. It
There's
sucks.
also a link though, isn't there? If you're going to call on computer,
if you're
or
a mobile phone,
mobile device.
Phone, just go into the description of the YouTube video, and there's a link there. Quick haters came in the chat while the Cowboys were losing.
Well, that's a super
We're like
chat.
the meme of that black dude hiding behind the tree, licking his lips.
Oh, that's
LOL. Radical 808. So
that's Anthony Adams, I think.
Yeah, when you see him like this.
Yeah, appreciate the super chat.
That's Radical 808 with a $5 super chat.
Sorry, let me. Oh, okay, yeah.
It's just the haters sitting there waiting, they're lurking.
Hey, look, we've had a lot of fun with people coming in the chat and going back and forth.
I love it.
I've been missing Filthy.
He gone.
He gone
Well,
though. He's probably back in his hole.
Icarus
That's
Flowers.
probably filthy.
Icarus Flowers
could be.
That's
was-
probably filthy.
was commenting on their video, being like, "You guys wouldn't let me call in." This is like, "Hey, call in on Wednesday," and this was before the Eagles Bucks game. I said, "But just be ready because we're going to talk to you about your game." He's like, "Well, we got to talk about your game first," and then I think he probably thought
the
we were
thing
on
with
Wednesday,
the Eagles fans talking shit, that's one thing I ain't doing. If I'm playing on the Saturday, or if my team's playing on the Sunday, I ain't going into a divisional rival. I'm not posting nothing about the divisional rivals game before playing on Sunday. Not a chance. Just because
100%.
it's just like
It's bad mojo.
So Eagles all the fans talk shit and then got wiped.
Well, that's the thing.
by the Bucks.
Our boy Nate's going to be in studio, so it's like part of you wants to be supportive for him, but at the same time, the entire 49ers fan base is just like equally as bad. Well, at least the online trolls are almost equally as bad, if not worse, than Eagles fans. We lose to the 49ers. Our video had more views from that reaction than an Eagles loss.
You know why they call us America's team? Call the Cowboys America's team? Because all of America is watching those games, love or hate them, and all of America comes out of the woodworks when Cowboys lose. It doesn't matter what team you're from, they'll come out and talk shit. So.
Well, did you see ESPN's numbers on the Monday? They
no.
broke records. ESPN, all their shows, First Take, Pat McAfee, Get Up, all of there was 4 of their shows, all had record-breaking viewership on Monday.
Yeah.
All record-breaking viewership. So, I mean, and then, come on, like, that's not just a coincidence. That's
No,
because
of course not.
they wanted to listen to the shit that was going to be said about the Dallas Cowboys, and shit should be said about the Cowboys.
Here,
you show up and play like you did, you deserve to get shit talked about.
Champions, my ass.
I have a thought that's been lingering.
Dude,
Just
fucking
remember,
linger it.
Since
Sobjay just hits a little bit differently.
Since Bot G. Sobjay.
Yeah, Sobjay.
Bot G. And for the record, I'm not like I'm sober now.
No, you're just going to the gym after the
I'm just going
show.
to the gym after this, so I can't be half cut and do that. It's leg day, baby. But
Jim J.
I'm saving it for tomorrow. Jim J. What's Jim J?
You're going to the gym.
Oh, Jim J. Yeah.
Jim J. Or
what am
or
I, like a
Sobjay?
fucking
I like
Pokemon or something?
I like that your name has now just been like anything
Way J,
to do
Jim
with
J,
you.
yeah.
We could just put that in front of Jay, and it's
Yeah.
funny.
Way J.
See, for the
So
longest
Jay.
time, people would be like, "Oh, so what's your nickname? What do people call me?" Like, I don't know. I think they call me Alex. It's been AJ all these years. I just never
It has
clued
been.
in until this podcast because I hear it so much. It's like,
Yeah.
I never. Anyway,
AJ.
I have to find that Sopranos one for next year.
AJ, yeah,
AJ.
But what do Cowboys need to do? And I have an answer for this, even though I'm asking the question. What do Cowboys
how we do
need
here.
to look to improve? You could probably just rewind it basically to last year, and I'd be saying the same things. But this year, I actually have an order of what I want to address.
Okay.
The order goes like this. I would prefer in the draft that we look and find and get a guy in the first round, wide receiver, someone who's going to be like what we're looking for is that Puka Nacua Cup scenario where you give your quarterback 2 very deadly weapons, and then it doesn't matter. Then from 3 and 4 on, Cowboys look really good with Cooks if they're bringing it. Or no, we have him
He's
for
there.
one more year.
Yeah, he's there.
And Gallup too, even as your 4th, or Tolbert as your 4th.
Yeah, you're pretty loaded.
Then from there, I would look to start shoring. Probably say if we're looking just drafts specifically, 3rd and 4th round, or sorry, 2nd and 3rd round would be defensive tackle, and then either or any one of these really, defensive tackle, linebacker preferred, because I think that's what's going to be a hot market in the 2nd round, and then also or a safety, a nice big safety you can help shore up. Whatever order you do those through rounds 2 to 5, that's what I'm looking for, and then throw in a big boy running back as well. So your first 5 after wide receiver, your next 4 would be 3 defenders, D tackle, linebacker, free or strong safety, and then throw in a running back pick in there. That's what I think are the major holes for the boys.
Yeah, I also think that there's another super chat in here. Keith, Cowboys for life. Love you, boys. Glad I still have this channel to watch in the off season. Thanks for that $10 super chat.
Oh, appreciate it. Much love.
I agree. You mentioned a wide receiver first. I like Ultra's take. on going for the best offense. Would you say the best?
He said
player?
offense at first, and then he kind of said, you know what, best player.
My question: do you
BPA baby?
Depending on what happens with LVE, do you try to draft 2 big body linebackers, or you take a linebacker, a free agent linebacker who's more of a veteran presence, and then draft a big body linebacker?
Cowboys have been terrible at free agent linebackers. They should have a couple years ago. Who was screaming at us trading for Roquan Smith?
You were.
Me.
Like, fuck me. That would have been
insane. Roquan Smith on this team would have been insane. Weird. The Ravens became the best defensive team in the NFL 2 years after that guy got on the team. It's not a coincidence, man. That guy holds people accountable. He's a tackling machine. He's a ball hawk. He's a fumble creator. He's just a pure linebacker. But back to what you were saying, as far as even what AJ was saying, I want to draft a linebacker because when you get a true linebacker, you could take Marquez Bell and he can go take Jaron Kearse's spot.
Fuck yeah.
He will be better in Jaron's spot than Jaron was. Jaron had a great 2 years with the Cowboys.
Until he changed his fucking number.
And then he went to number 1, the Calvin Joseph number.
Bad mojo.
And then he just had an off season. I don't know if he was battling with nagging injuries, but Marquez Bell, it's kind of like you fix 2 problems by doing one thing. You draft a starting linebacker, or at least a very possibly starting type caliber linebacker. You let him and Overshown and LVE and Damone Clark kind of all battle.
Yep.
That's going to create the best player for the position. You kick Marquez Bell back to that kind of roaming safety.
Then you got to worry about a safety.
Yeah, but you don't have to draft a safety, although if it comes around. But if you have Marquez Bell, Wanye Thomas, Malik Hooker, and Dono Dubb back there at the safety position,
Feeling good.
you're feeling pretty good. Like the only downside was there was just Jaron Kearse was having penalties, and he just coverage and tackling. It just wasn't there this year. And I think you get a hungry guy like Marquez Bell who's cheap. He's still on his rookie contract. He was an undrafted free agent. You move him there. That's kind of gets you so you don't have to even use a pick at safety.
Yeah, and I think I'm off BPA too. I don't think I like best.
Not even for in the first.
I thought you were talking about.
I mean, like obviously, if there is
because Mozzie was the going off of BPA pick.
Their BPA, not ours.
True, but
yeah.
But,
I mean, hey, look,
no,
boys, we had some fucking stellar mock drafts.
Oh, we did. I look back at our shit, man. I'm like, holy fuck. Like, and that's kind of why I went back to the people bashing us about the Mozzie and the Deuce Vaughn and stuff. I went back to those because in all of our drafts that we did, we found, and I get it, you do enough of them, you're gonna find people. But in every one of the mock drafts we did, we found players. And I think sometimes in the NFL, it's like they start overcomplicating things, right? They watch so much stuff, and there's all these talking points where it goes away from like. We're making all of our picks essentially on like very small things.
Looks first,
and then like
size,
and then a quick highlight, quick highlight, right? So
look, there draft last year was awesome because we did get a lot of people coming on sharing their thoughts, people who actually know college football. It's one thing that we don't really have a lot of availability up here, or just like general interest.
We didn't grow up with it. None of us grew up with the team.
From last draft to this year's season, like I spent way more time watching college than I've ever in my life. Like, so I feel like I like doing it because it helps our draft coming up when we do talk about players, and it allows you to know it. And then also when someone else that you drafted, that you wanted us to draft, they start doing well. It's almost like that fucking guy was ours. Like we were happy for Sharby to get to see Sharby in Charbonnet in person at a game because that was AJ's like number one dog that he was going for.
That was his.
Well, let's not call a person a pet. Okay, it was his. It was his number one.
You're such a wokio.
I'm such a wokio. Like, sorry, AJ, go ahead.
No, I ranted. I finished that.
Nate Dogg says AJ's already moved on to the draft. Respect.
Hey man, that's what we do. But we got another super chat from Arnie Diaz. Crack 'em, boys. Full rebuild talk is dumb. I agree.
Hey, listen, for 1 second, you take away my People's Champ stuff, and I will fucking end you.
Oh, I saw Nate. I thought you skipped.
No,
it.
Gosh,
hey,
no.
I'm vying for that belt.
I think that's a fun talk because here's why I wouldn't mind a rebuild. I'm not asking for a rebuild, but at some my mentality right now is I don't expect the Cowboys to get out of their cycle that they're doing. Okay, and that can change via draft, offseason, and then preseason. Like, there's a lot of time for Cowboys to change my mind. And also, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what they actually do. But I'm not convinced that bringing back basically all of the same elements is going to give the Cowboys what they need. In that, I would be okay with taking a Washington Redskins type of season where you're getting some fun offense. They had some fun games. They weren't like Panthers where it would be hard to even watch your game that get through the season. But then you end up with that high draft pick, and that's pretty exciting because not only could you trade back and maybe get some more if you're not really looking to get a top 5 dude, but it also gives you, like, I could take a year of that if it means you're going to be coming back in 2 years or 3 years, getting back to where you left off, because it would mean that you would have new ingredients to the team to get over that hump or that blockade, that level that they just can't get through. So that's why I don't mind the talk of rebuilding, even if it arguably could be a dumb conversation because it just certainly doesn't make sense with Dak's contract.
With the amount of all pros that we had on this team, like rebuild mode, and I know it doesn't matter if you don't end up doing anything, but you still have that core guys. If they go and do the same, like, I would have been okay with a different head coach. I would have been, honestly. I would have been fine with that because I still think there was core pieces in. I understand keeping Mike McCarthy, just keep him with those core guys. If this same song and dance happens in this next year, you're going to see a house clearing next year. You're going to see it. There's just no way that they don't. You can't keep doing it. This will be the 4th
12-5. They go 12-5 and have a divisional exit.
They're clearing house. They have to.
Well, here's my thought. Besides Kilo C saying that Ant never went third down serious in that game, and that's probably the reason that we lost.
Yeah, I didn't have the chance to. We were losing.
He didn't say
we were losing before I even had a chance.
He didn't say that's because we lost. I threw that in there. But Jerry Jones is getting old. I actually think that right now Jerry wants to pass the reins on to Steven.
Not a chance.
Well, hear me out.
You'll have to be like ill, I think.
Hear me out. He has a documentary that a team following him right now to do a documentary on his life.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, so you have a team that's gone 12-5 the last 2 seasons. I believe Jerry Jones fundamentally thought that it was going to be the year that they were going to get to the Super Bowl. Okay, so the going through and finding another coach and then having to rebuild and having to go through all of that could be another 2 or 3 year process. When you look at some of these head coaches who've come in to turn teams around, it takes about 3 years for them to actually get it going. So I think if they go 12-5 again and an early exit in the playoffs, I don't think Mike McCarthy's going anywhere. I think until Mike McCarthy has an abysmal regular season, we're either going to see Jerry Jones retire and say, okay, I'm not going to end my reign as GM, owner, GM without a Super Bowl. I think he wants to bookmark his team or his life as a Cowboys GM with Super Bowl wins. Obviously, they've been chasing it for years. So I don't think we're going to see much of a house clearing until Jerry actually says, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm out. I'm too tired.
So you think if Mike McCarthy if he does the same thing he just did, you think they're going to re-extend? Like, this is his last year.
I think he'll stay. If Jerry's a GM, if Jerry's a GM,
they have to give him a new contract though.
If Jerry's the GM and Dak Prescott's been extended, I think they're gonna keep him. I don't think Jerry feels like he has too many years left on him.
I can't believe they kept him this year, to be honest.
Jerry Jones, well, he owns a team, so I feel like he has to keep him. So
yeah,
Jerry will be involved with the Cowboys till he dies. He's not looking to pass it on.
Dead or terminally ill,
or bedridden. And even then, he's got fucking technology to keep him.
I mean, but like, so one of the things that everyone continues to say about, like, everyone thinks that Jerry Jones, like, a lot of, like, the media thinks Jerry Jones is, like, shoot at the hip, but anybody who's worked for the organization, and when they talk about him, he's almost the exact opposite. He's almost loyal to a fault in certain circumstances. I can't see somebody like Jerry Jones after so many years being like that guy who just won't give the reins to his family. Like, he's all about family. He's all about loyalty. Don't you want to see your kids take over them? But I do think he wants to end his legacy.
You're talking about the guy that fired a dude because he didn't want to agree that he had he helped them win the Super Bowl. You think Jerry wants to give it to Steven and then Jerry's completely out of it and then Steven wins a Super Bowl?
That was the only time that Jerry actually went ahead and made a decision like that. And then since then, when he owned the team for 3 or 4 years after having Jimmy Johnson, new owner, still hasn't completely turned around the Cowboys. He's just starting to really make back a bunch of his money. He shoots at the hip, and he's, a young 60-year-old Jerry. I think he was maybe 60 around there. Who knows how old he is now? Is he 82?
81.
81. So maybe a 50-year-old Jerry hits a little different, right? Jerry Jones at that time, if you look at his history, that was probably the most like shoot at the hip moment he's ever had.
There's no fucking way he gives up being the GM. There's just zero.
I don't disagree. I think Jerry's probably. I think Jerry's really good at being a GM.
He dies unhappy if he gives it to Steven and Steven wins, because then everyone's like, why didn't you do this 15 years ago? Why didn't you do this 20 years ago? Why didn't you do this 10 years ago?
Yeah, I do agree, though.
Steven will get to run the team just when Jerry's dead.
Jerry is getting old, and that could be an issue, too, because, if he is trying to run things in a way that, worked for him 30 years ago and it hasn't changed, yeah, that's a problem. But his life is Dallas Cowboys. He could have moved on. He could move on right now and add another $10 billion to his pocket. But it's more valuable for him to be, and for his probably health too, as much as it hurts, is for him to be owning and GMing the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm not saying he's not going to not own the Cowboys. I think he'll just step down from that GM and give that role up.
He's essentially already gave that role up, but he still wants the title.
But that's why I'm saying I think he just wants it so that he can prove that he won a Super Bowl as a GM.
I don't think
exactly.
And
that's why he's never going to give that title up.
Jerry's going to die.
He's guaranteed. And in my brain, he's a billionaire guy that they're egotistical. Everything he's ever done has been his way, and it's worked out. In his brain, they're this close to being there again. Why would he ever? The only way I would see it is if he said, okay, Steven, clear house, you take it now. But
that's what I'm saying. It's either going to be they have a tank season and he says, okay, fuck it, or they win the Super Bowl. They win the Super Bowl. Jerry's gonna step down as GM.
See, that's more likely.
That's what I was saying.
But you never said he wins a Super Bowl and steps down.
That's what I was saying.
You never said that.
I said I think that Mike McCarthy is gonna stay. If they do the exact same thing that they did this year and they don't win the Super Bowl, Jerry's not going to get rid of Mike McCarthy. He's going to extend him because Jerry wants to end his reign as GM with a Super Bowl win. And it's going to take way too much time investing it into another coach coming in.
Okay, so let's rephrase what you said. If he wins a Super Bowl, he might pass the team on.
I did say it. Yeah. I did say that earlier.
But regardless, but
you guys were fucking hot on that.
Because I don't agree with. I 0% agree with that.
That's fine.
And we'll find out. We'll find out either in a couple months or
we'll find out in 20
or 20 years.
Jerry could die tomorrow.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
realistically, in the 80s, you never know what happens. You're in the 80s now, and I'm not wishing. There's a lot of people that are wishing Jerry Jones' death. We all collectively don't mind Jerry Jones.
Here's what you got
as fans.
Looking right behind you.
Here's what you got to also
and I hate to say it, but that gets more valuable when he dies.
And you're a Jerry boy.
Jerry is. He doesn't have enough years left in him, I think, to mentally process handing it over. Things are getting probably pretty close to the end for him.
Yeah.
Definitely closer than it was when he started being an owner. I don't see him giving up reins at all ever. He'll keep the same arrangement that he has with.
He's like a Game of Thrones character.
He's a king.
he's like a Game of Thrones character.
He's like there's one character in Game of Thrones who just won't die, and all the kids want him to die.
Which one?
It's a Frey. It's the guy who does the. Did you watch the series?
Yeah.
It's the guy who does the Red Wedding, the old guy. He just won't die, and he won't give it to any of his kids.
Will Steven Jones take over more of a role? Yeah, I definitely think that'll happen.
I think he already has. I already think Will McClay and Steven Jones run the team way more than Jerry Jones does. I already believe that's a thing. I just don't think he's ever going to give up the title.
But Jerry has that ultimate veto power. So if he wants something, he's got
the ban hammer.
Okay, what is one thing? Because you said they're billionaires, they're egotistical. One thing that a billionaire or a rich person wants.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's like me trying to think what a dragon would do.
But it's legacy, okay? So legacy. Jerry Jones wants to end on have his legacy intact. ending the run without a Super Bowl is not great. Why would he commission a team to let or a team to come in and do a Netflix documentary on him?
So that's what I'm saying. If he gives his team to Stephen Jones before he wins a Super Bowl, and Stephen Jones goes and wins a Super Bowl, his legacy is now you should have done this 20 years ago.
But that's not.
So I don't think he does that.
I know. I agree with you.
Okay, so
I agree with
here's
you.
the thing about rich and powerful people that I don't know about. Is they're
you got fucking Shady McCoy over there, Joy Roberts over there.
Shady McCoy, you're the one who's talking. Oh, you're the one who's like, and not listening to what I'm saying. You're Shady McCoy.
Joy Roberts over there.
I'll be fucking Joy.
I'll be Julia Roberts. Pretty woman.
Pretty woman. There we go.
Like a person who is he's not driven by money. He's driven by success. And if he wins a Super Bowl, I don't think that's hanging up cleats. I think he's going to be driven to want to win another, because what's the next thing? Oh, I'm one Super Bowl away from tying the New England Patriots for having the most Super Bowls in NFL history. And then if he gets that, I'm one away from having the most. So I don't think it's ever going to be good enough for him. He's in this because this is his life. So hanging up his cleats is basically saying, this is what happens to some old people, and I hope I'm not one of them, is they retire and then they die in 3 or 4 years because they have nothing left.
Yep.
Jerry is not what if he does that, what's he going to go do?
Buy the Bucks?
That's what I mean. That'd be super hilarious if he moves into basketball.
Gives it to Steven, and then he goes buys another franchise.
He pulls. He's like, I'm taking over the franchise. I'm taking over the expansion team, and I'm taking Dak Prescott with me.
Yeah.
No, the fun part about this is we're gonna see what happens.
We're gonna see,
and hopefully Can-Fan's still going strong when it happens. But I imagine Jerry lives till 105.
Oh well, we know he's gonna live a long time.
He's already looks like Emperor Palpatine. You know he's going for it.
Yeah, he's made. They said, Jerry, do you want to be rich and live to 105, but you'll never win another Super Bowl, but you'll make a lot of money? What do you want? I'll take the money. Who knows? He made some sort of deal with somebody. That's why he's able to crack back all that salt.
Yeah,
and not have it
because he knows he's got till 105. He just eats whatever.
Oh yeah, fucking. Does whatever he wants. He fucking drives fast, flies helicopters. Who knows?
Gets in car accidents,
Question in the chat says, and there's nothing to do with Jerry Jones. Let me bring it back up here. Do you think? Okay, so honorable mention says, "Yo, Can fans, did Dak Prescott officially open the door to Trey Lance? And do we move on from Trey Lance and Cooper Rush in the offseason?"
That's something that we can all get back on the same page on. I think.
Like
that. You just brought the Cat fan boys back together.
Well, listen, you and I were on the same page.
I just didn't know if you were saying after he won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Okay, then yes, we're on the same page.
100%.
Bitch.
Sorry, what?
Trey Lance didn't even Trey Lance didn't even beat out Cooper Rush this entire season. So, I would love to see what Trey Lance can do. He's got to beat out Cooper Rush first, because if that goes down, heaven help us, Cooper Rush is going to be the one stepping in. We'll see what happens to his contract. I think he's a free agent this year, but he is arguably, for a veteran, because there might be some younger guys who are going to supplant him next year. But he's arguably the top, if not the top 3 backup QBs in the league.
Oh, definitely,
and could probably have a starting gig on some of those lower teams.
When he came in, he won games.
Exactly.
And until and I hate to say this because a lot of people like to talk about it, I don't really want to even talk about Trey Lance until you see either Cooper Rush not brought back, or Trey Lance is the number 2 QB. It's like, what other team in the NFL talks about
third stringer,
their emergency quarterback?
I know.
Besides the Dallas Cowboys, he's not
when our quarterback is vying in the top 3 spot for MVP.
Exactly, and then you have a very serviceable QB too. So in a perfect world, it's easy to find. Trey Lance comes in, the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, right? That's a great scenario.
Great story.
But until he proves that he even has a chance to get that number 1 spot, he has to first steal that 2 spot from the redheaded stepchild.
But look, if it does happen, if Cooper Rush does end up going to another squad next season, and Trey Lance is going to be de facto then our number 2 until someone else comes in or someone shows up in the draft, whatever which I doubt will happen. But if that's the case, now we're going to get to see him in a full preseason. And then I think, we'll have some nicer things to say about him. But it's not dogging on the dude.
We're not hating him. We're being realistic about it.
The hype is because he was he
was like the third overall pick.
Third overall first-round pick, started, lost his job because of an injury. I believe it was an
he broke
injury,
his
and
hand or
then
something.
just never got back in. So there is like this lingering question of what could Trey Lance be. But he has to show it within the locker room and organization first before he gets that chance.
So going, not to get back into a Jerry argument,
for it.
Jerry's a businessman. Trey Lance is an investment. He brings
shut up! He's not going to give up the team, okay?
No, I'm saying he brings.
He fucking dunked on you there. He dunked on you.
He brings Trey Lance in without telling anybody. He goes under Dak Prescott. He goes under Mike McCarthy. They develop him.
Sneaks him into the locker. Just shows up one day.
Hey, I'm Trey Lance. What? Dak's looking at his phone. Trey Lance signed to the Dallas Cowboys. Trey Lance comes in. Hey, I'm the new quarterback.
Beat it, nerd.
This is Dak Prescott right here.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go
on. Trey Lance, develop him for 2 years, maybe even 3 years, and now you have either capital to trade, you have something you can move. Like, look at the other teams that are that would kill for a Trey Lance or a Dak Prescott.
But I know what you're saying there, but just for the relevance of the conversation, I go back and ask, well, then tell me why you're excited about. I know you're not making that argument, but well, sell me on Trey Lance then, and
he was a third overall pick.
Yeah, don't go back more than 3 years.
This year,
yeah,
stay in this year. What their NFL talent? Why can't I think of it? Evaluators on every team, right?
Yeah.
If he's better than Cooper Rush, he's going to be the number 2. There's no reason for them to keep him as the emergency quarterback unless he's the third best on the team at quarterback.
But how many times do we see a quarterback come into the league, and Caleb Williams could actually absolutely be one of them, and they're a fucking bust because you put
every single year.
Every single year you get these quarterbacks.
More often they're
Bryce
busts
Young.
than
Bryce
hits.
Young. You have a CJ Stroud who he was going to drop out of the first round because he didn't score right, and
because he can't write his own name.
He can't write his own name, right? But all of a sudden he's coming in, and you're looking at him, you're like, there's no fucking way he's a rookie, right? So yes, there are those players who can come in and do that. You just don't know. So why are we taking a risk on a team when you have to put so much pressure on somebody at the most important position? So I'm always going to favor taking a young quarterback that you draft, and have them under a veteran to learn the ropes.
Because you're a groomer.
I'm a groomer.
Look,
I want to massage them. Right?
But that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
Just have them sit there and let's hope. Let's hope.
I think we never have to have a serious debate about who we should start, Cooper Rush or Trey Lance.
Or even 3 years down the road, maybe then it is a conversation that, wow, Trey Lance is actually
developed.
Well, so
and there's that case too.
Well, when we talk about Dak's contract extension, when you were doing it earlier on, if you extend him and you go longer, and then all of a sudden he gets injured, or maybe he's not having some hot games, and you bring up a Trey Lance to try, well, you needed to do that anyways because that was the best financial decision on the team by extending Dak's contract. Doesn't mean that you have to play him. If he's having some bad games, or if it's not working out, put in your third string backup that you think's going to be the savior of the team.
Well, they can't though. That's the thing. Even with him as the third, the only way he could have even played this year is if both Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush get hurt in the same game.
Unless they
put him as QB2
because he's the emergency.
Yeah,
he's the merge.
I can't see them moving on from Cooper Rush next season.
No, they'll sign him.
I think Cooper Rush is going to be there. A solid backup quarterback who knows their role as a back. And Andy Dalton. I don't know what it is with these Reds. They know their role as a backup. Like that is valuable to your starting quarterback.
Definitely, and a guy that you know that can win.
Before I forget, and I know I'm just kind of
you're gonna rip some. You're gonna rip some fucking push-ups.
I was gonna say, are you doing? Oh, did you get the shirts?
Oh, I thought you were wearing one. There it is, uncensored, intoxicated. Cowboys
the pink.
Nice.
Pink means pussy.
Well, AJ's showing off. I gotta take a leak.
AJ's wearing a shirt. He washed it, and it was white, and then it got that color. So you can get that at the Cowboys. CowboysCanFan.com/store, and we have it available. You know what? Call in the
CowboysCanFan.com/store. And we got a couple more minutes here, or maybe a couple more tens of minutes here for anyone who wants to call in, share their thoughts. Let's talk Cowboys. Numbers on the screen or in the description. Number is in the description and actually pinned as well.
The Zoom ended, so those numbers are irrelevant.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It's okay, though.
Never mind then.
Look at that CanFan Maniac shirt. I'm going to wear this tomorrow night.
Just throw it in the dryer to get those rings out.
Hey, Nate Dogg, that's what I'm wearing tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm going for the 49ers? No, it's yellow. It's
the Hulk. It's Hulk Hogan. It's Hulkamania. I like the lettering on this because it makes it look like, if you look at it, it looks like it's like an on the actual shirt. I know this is a design, but the shirt itself looks like it's like a vintage print.
Yep,
if
I like it.
So that's one shirt. Then when Anth comes in, I'll get the other one to him. Are we able to get numbers or just F it?
Well, no one was calling in, so it's all good. Look at that one right there. You wish you had that boost, didn't you?
Actually pretty dope. For you audio listeners, though, you're like, what the hell are these guys talking about? We're just pulling out our shirts and looking at them. So you need to head over to youtube.com/@CowboysCanFan.
Look at that one.
Crack them if you got them, baby.
That's my off-season shirt. That's my shirt tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my shirt tomorrow.
That's a Hundo P my shirt.
Actually,
tomorrow.
AJ washed his white shirt and my shirt together, and that's why his shirt
that's
got
what
pink.
happened. I like it, though. I like the pink.
Oh, I like the pastel.
The pink come out. So
Nate Dogg says that looks great. Yeah, Nate Dogg, I'm going to be wearing it tomorrow night for your 49ers. It's not gold.
Also, we're able to get our prices lowered on those shirts too, so they're a lot more reasonable. Just took a little Jimmy working.
Crack me if you got them.
Crack them if you got them.
But why isn't Trey Lance to start? And I don't hate people that have that take. It's like
no, I just
everybody
need more.
Everybody wants the best thing for this team, and obviously it's like the backup to the quarterback's always like the.
Here, this is what. Yeah, look, this is what bugs me about it. I shouldn't say bugs me, but why? Like, I'm just not interested in having that conversation because those questions that we were asking. That's what I'll always just go to. Is like, okay, then give me something and like sell me on it. And the only answer is, well, Dak's balls or something like that, right? Like, it completely misses a lot of that. Okay, he's third string though. So what about Cooper Rush? What about all these other teams that have had a shot on him and haven't looked for him? So I never say never. I would love for Trey Lance to compete and then win out Dak Prescott because that would just mean that he's that much better. And like,
definitely,
we're Dak riders, but we're Cowboys Nation first. So if one of these people is going to be able to take a starting person out of the lineup or move them down the depth chart because they're better at that position than them, no matter who it is, I'm okay with it. That's part of the game.
It's like in 2016 when Romo got hurt and was out for 9 games, and a rookie quarterback went 8-1, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, beat all these other good teams, and they had the conversations of, is this Romo's team? And it's like, no. Yeah. How do you go back? How do you go back from this guy that's on an 8 or 9 game winning streak in his rookie year, right? Dak Prescott earned the right to go over top of Romo, right? And it's like, I need something like that to happen. Obviously, I don't want Dak to get hurt and Trey Lance get vaulted in there, but it's like Trey Lance has had his chance a little bit in the NFL. He's had enough practices in the NFL. It's not like one of these things that, okay, as soon as he gets on a field on Sunday, he's going to turn into Superman. Yeah. No, they watch him every day at practice.
Yeah, it's not like he is sitting idly twiddling his thumbs, waiting for them to say, "Okay, come throw some footballs now." Like, yeah. So,
hey, get the fuck! It's like Varsity Booze. Get the dummios out here.
Get dummios.
You better tell this sumbitch to walk the fuck out right now, or we done for the day. Go on.
Get out of here. Go on. One of the other people who I think, like we talk about the position linebacker. And we got LVE in there kind of holding down that spot.
So he was on a 2-year deal?
I'm going to look right now, but
I must have been.
Possibly if he even comes back.
That's right.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask.
Injury.
LVE doesn't come back, we have to pick up a free agent linebacker, and then we got to draft a linebacker. There's no other options.
This is the
stat me, boy.
No. You're right. LVE's here for next season. 4.3 milli on the books,
unless he retires.
Unless he retires, then it's nothing. But they could also cut him and save 2.1 million. So it's not a big thing. But I'm more thinking of, let's go back to reading Jerry's mind as we
know Jerry. We know Jerry.
I think that he's let's
go wildcatting.
Jerry would look like LV's serviceable. And when I say Jerry, I'm talking about that whole brain organization. LV's serviceable. He's good enough for what we need a linebacker to do. Just gets injured. So, but you know, LV on the field with Clark and Overshone, if Overshone is who we think he is, okay, that's like a pretty revamped linebacker core from what we were dealing with last season for most of.
Well, considering we were down to Damone Clark and a converted safety,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, at least now you have two other true linebackers.
But both of them have injury concern.
Yep.
And so you're kind of in that same place. But I still think if LV comes back, he's a guy who I'd actually like to see retire, not do because of an injury, but so he doesn't get another injury. And selfishly, so it forces Cowboys' hand to go out there and find a replacement.
Draft a linebacker.
And I don't hate on LVE. He's never been very special to me from my years of watching Cowboys.
It's only been special for Anth yelling at him. So
no,
much.
but Anth mentioned he started out very hot.
His first year, he was an All-Pro.
And
It was a
yeah.
dude.
So if he can
was
return to
fucking
that,
he was in his first year. LVE's first year was,
and it was with Jalen or no who?
Yeah, Jalen Smith was
Jalen
awesome
Smith.
too. They were like Fred Taylor and who's Fred Taylor's counterpart there? The guy that punched out the fat Eagles guy.
Greenlaw.
Greenlaw.
Oh yeah,
that's what they were like. They were just all over the place making plays, man.
Yep. Bandwagon Bob says LVE might be gun shy, and that is a big. That's probably why you had a couple.
He plays like it.
Yeah, he's scared he's gonna break his
Well,
neck
and then
again.
guess what happens?
He breaks his
you
neck.
have a season where you're like, oh,
well, this, you know what? He had a chance to make a tackle, and he hesitated, got pushed in the back, head went into whoever, and I think that's his career, man. And you don't want to be fucking around with your neck, dude.
No, and honestly, like as good as a player is, let's put Tyron Smith on this list as well, because Tyron Smith is, when he's hot, he is top 10.
Great year this year.
Top 5. But if he's going to get injured and only play 9 games a season, as long as he comes back and plays the important ones, okay, I can deal with that, right? I'm okay with giving players extra time. But it is something you have to account for.
They got to draft a tackle.
Got to have a tackle who can in it. And maybe
Chuma ain't the answer.
Chuma's not the answer. Perhaps it's Awesome Richards. Same thing with Willetsko. He seems to have an ability they like. Maybe it's his frame, but he's another guy. He doesn't stay on the field long enough.
It's because he's right tackle and you can touch the left tackle from where he stands.
Yeah. Wingspan, well, let's go. Hey, well, let's go. You fucking condor. Take everybody for a flight.
Oh, but like, that's not a good backup because he is just a big of an injury concern as well. So those are like just things to consider as well. Just talking about backups replacing starters, or starters right now who like are that we're a little questionable about. And I love Tyron Smith, don't get me wrong, but I'm super worried that he's just not going to.
He got lucky this year, man.
Yeah.
By not having a major injury.
Yeah.
Like that was.
He missed a couple games.
He missed a couple games, but that was. He played more games than I thought he was going to. He definitely did. But my biggest thing right now going into the draft, what position couldn't we take a guy in the first round and us be upset? I don't want to draft a quarterback. This is actually a good question. What position would you guys be upset with the Cowboys taking in the first round?
Defensive end. I mean, upset is a strong word. I would be like shocked
if they took a D.
Let's consider that pieces that we've already talked about, or like some more obvious pieces, are available as well. So it's not like, because I definitely I stepped back a little. BPA, obviously, if the next guy is two picks down the line, you think.
Yeah.
The next guy that you are wanting to get.
I also don't hate trading back the 24th, man.
I don't either.
And picking up another third.
Really all depends.
If you can trade back from 24th to 28th, pick up a third and a sixth or something.
Or a team's really hungry and wants to move up and they're early second.
Exactly. So
I'm fine with that.
But
too.
so you're thinking your first snapshot was defensive end. Add a position that you would be like, and again, not upset, but you'd be kind of like, okay, that's where we went. Because that's how we were all kind of with the defensive interior a little bit in the first round.
Tight end, I'd be upset if they drafted tight end.
Sure, that's good. Sure. Yeah, no, that's true.
There's no fucking way they're taking a tight end.
No, not in the first. But you're right though. That's true because there's my point of this. My point of the exercise is there's not very many positions that you would be like, oh, they take a guy and you're upset about.
No, I mean
defensive end, tight end, and quarterback. Those are the ones I'm
defensive end,
thinking.
tight end, quarterback, and I would defensive interior line, I would be
DT?
like.
How funny would that be though? Back-to-back years.
Here's the thing.
Unless he's the actual dude.
Yes.
Unless he's the actual dude.
Yeah, but like who's that guy?
Well, Mozzie Smith at 26 or whatever the hell we picked at was on nobody else's radar.
Yeah.
They probably could have got him where they picked Schoonmaker.
Yep.
Yeah, and look, I should maybe step back DE a little too, because those can be very explosive players. Cornerback is another one.
You wouldn't like to go cornerback.
I wouldn't hate it, but the pieces that we have there with Bland and
you only have Bland and Diggs. Diggs is coming off an ACL.
J-Lou.
J-Lou's a slot though, right? I'm talking about true corner though.
Right, but I don't want to pick up a first round pick to be a backup.
I wanted them to take Joey Porter Jr. last year. I did, honestly, and we had Diggs, and because I thought he was the best player on the board, and out of the guys that we looked at, he had the best season out of any of those guys.
Yeah.
So
it's just
I know what you mean, but then this year now, say you did take Joey Porter, right? Now this year he comes back, or Diggs comes back. You still have the insurance if Diggs isn't playing how he is. You got Bland, who's insane now, but Bland now could go back to slot, right? Like, which I don't know if you ever do now that you've seen what he could do.
The question is, do you get rid of
CB's a good one too, but like our depth at CB isn't great.
Well,
we're one Trevon Diggs or Deron Bland injury away. Gilly's not there.
Well, if Gilly stays, then you have depth to that position.
I'll assume they're not going to put money into Gilly.
I agree. I kind of think that they should, but it would not be great if
they just don't have money to.
That's what I mean. You take your first round pick as a corner if he's the best player. You don't reach for a guy. If there's a guy named Kool-Aid that's on the board. If he somehow falls to you at 24, I'm talking about like if the right guy falls to you, you can't be worried about cornerback. Whereas tight end, I don't care who falls to you, you're probably not taking a tight end. Quarterback, same thing. I don't think whoever falls to you don't take. Defensive end, I think you could argue that too. I don't think you take.
I'm fine. Honestly, yeah, I agree. And I'd be, but stepping back, I don't really care who they draft as long as the person is a game one starter in the first round and come up and help to improve either the offensive or defensive side of the ball. So like, we'll go in there. We're going to do our homework as we do. And we'll have our draft and our list by the time we get to draft of players who we want. But the player first round, and I would love the second round to be in lockstep too. They have to be starters, true starters. And if that means, okay, we're a little, we have our starters in CB, but there's this guy sitting here, then yeah, take him and let's see what happens in the offseason.
Don't forget J-Lou's a free agent.
J-Lou's a free agent, yeah.
So CB now isn't a bad spot. You get him play nickel.
Well,
right? But
so
let's say this though. Positions right now that a guy that you take first round, this is actually a good way to do it. A position that he's not going to break the starting role. Defensive end, he's not starting.
Yeah.
He's not. Unless like at 24, the guy's not starting over Micah, D-Law, Sam Williams. It's just not going to happen. Sam Williams has got deserved.
Sam Williams put in 2 years.
That's what I mean.
You put him on the fucking line and let Micah roam a little bit.
Exactly. So defensive end's not happening. Let's just start with the defense. Defensive end's not happening. Linebacker, yeah, a first round could start at linebacker, 100%.
Yep.
Cornerback, maybe not start, but play nickel. Like if you're drafting him for a nickel,
arguably he could start,
or he could start.
Arguably,
Bland is great. He's had one amazing season.
Maybe he goes back to nickel.
We don't know.
Which nickel, like you play. You play nickel so much now too that it's like they're essentially a starter.
Yeah. Well, and that's. Who's our defensive coordinator? What type of schemes are we going to be playing? That's the other thing to consider going into that draft. If Dan Quin does leave and we have a new defensive coordinator coming in,
could be 3-4. Could switch to 3-4.
Absolutely. So now all of a sudden,
linebacker's huge,
big time. And I think we're going to see more of a 3-4 defense going into this upcoming year.
Well, if Dan Quinn's there, he's going to be it depends, I guess.
No, if Dan Quinn's there, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same thing.
But okay, so we went defensive end, cornerback, linebacker, okay? D tackle. I mean, you could argue that a guy could. I mean,
Hankins is not a for sure coming back.
Hankins might not come back.
Because
Osa fell off.
Hankins a free agent, though,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
So. Osa fell off at the end of the year. He kind of went away. He started off hot. He was my player at the halfway through the season. Was my guy. Kind of fell off. Mozzie Smith, we know the struggles he had. So yeah, there could be a guy, if he's the dude, could start there. I don't think you're drafting a safety that's coming in and starting over Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, and if you move Marquez Bell back, I don't think so. On the defense, I don't think you're taking a safety or defensive end. Those are on
hard nose.
Those are hard nose for me. But defensive end's one of those things too that
if the fucking
if that
cherry
guy
is sitting there, because defensive ends are very disruptive, and you can. There is that saying you can just never have enough of them. But I would hate for them to take a player, even if he is a conceivable starter on defensive end, over the same caliber in a linebacker.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we don't know what Sam Williams could do. But let's now shift over to the offense.
Yeah,
and we'll finish this exercise.
Exercise.
But what do you guys think on offense? Wide receiver? Yeah, you could draft someone in the first round. They could definitely start.
I want it actually.
Running back? I still think someone in the first round. If there's that guy, I don't know if there's that running back at 24.
But if
he drops, positional wise, and for the team, of course, there's someone you could take that could supplant.
I feel like yes, you're right. If the running back is like a Bijan Robinson this year,
which I don't know if there is really.
So that's what. So if you have that guy, which I don't think there is, you could probably second, third, fourth round. There's
totally. But the argument is just
first
could
round.
we have a guy that could? We could get a. Yeah, you're right. In third, fourth, fifth, you could draft a running back that could start for us
for sure.
Running back, wide receiver, you got to draft to find a starter.
Tight ends,
no. Quarterbacks, no. Tackle,
no.
Probably.
Yes.
I mean,
all O-line, I'd be okay with.
Same.
I would be
center.
I agree.
And and again, even if they don't start, it's kind of like how the cornerback thing is. There's just so many fucking weird spots. The thing with the guy, if you take him in the first round, he needs to be able to play both tackle spots and guard.
Yeah.
If he can do that, sign me up.
Thinking about guard, I don't know if anyone's really talked about this, but every single year is a potential year Zach Martin hangs up those cleats.
Exactly.
There's no
hasn't. Yeah,
he has a contract, and he is going to finish his career as a Dallas Cowboy. He might just say, "Look, I'm done." He's in 13th year.
He's up there. 2014, he was drafted.
Yeah, so this will be his
10th
year coming up here, or maybe this was his 10th.
Well, I mean, he's still probably Zach Martin still probably has the rest of this contract, and then I don't think there'll be another contract. I think we still have about 4.
But you got to find that dude.
But you're absolutely right.
Look how much shuffling we had on the O-line. Imagine we would have had there was games where Terrence Steele was the reason we lost. Let's not forget, guys, and I hate to play this game, but there was winnable games that the Cowboys lost that if they win, they're the first seed. They've completely go past the wild card round.
That's right.
They're playing at home this weekend.
They beat Cardinals.
They beat the Cardinals. They essentially lock up, right? So it's like
they
beat the Eagles when they were at the Eagles, where Terrence Steele had a fucking epic meltdown and just let anybody. The game that Buffalo, where Chuma Agoda just let everybody run past him. Same thing with the Dolphins. Everybody just ran past him. Bradley Chubb was running through him. So I don't mind taking any type of offensive lineman in the first. And then what position? I think that's all the positions on offense.
And lineman depth is different than any other position because
you need you need 7 of them that could start.
Oh yeah, like in Madden, I'll have basically an A line, and then I'll have all 80s basically for my.
You need a high C plus, low B for a guy that can just step in. And especially you get a multi-position O lineman, bring him on. Okay, final thoughts, fellas.
Well, I just want to. Stone King just popped in the chat and he goes, LMAO, and this is a big compliment to us. Live Massive, you guys are about the only Cowboys fans that ain't hiding. LMAO, go Pack Go, all aboard the love train. Let's get it on.
Hey, we'll be streaming. We'll be streaming tomorrow, man.
That's right.
Hey, already told him.
Oh, did you? You got him in chat. Nice.
Final thoughts, guys. We have 7 months of fucking talking.
34 weeks. 34. I counted yesterday. 34 Sundays.
Look, I'm excited. Final thoughts. We're gonna, as much as I hate to be out of playoffs, I get excited about off-season talk. It's probably my second favorite time of year, as opposed to football season. So
Madden GM, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that can happen, and it's always fun to get a new toy, so we'll see what happens with that. But as you mentioned, we're going to be doing a lot this season. We go down, we do our own draft show here, so you're going to want to come and hang out with us on the 3-day draft extravaganza with the Can Fan boys. We also are going to be going to the training camp in August down in Oxnard. We're planning that. This could be a bigger trip. Usually it's just been the three boys going down to scout. But this year, potentially, we might do kind of a little bit of a family trip.
Crew.
So we'll figure that out. And then, of course, any West Coast game, San Francisco, we're coming for you. And then we'll be down in Thanksgiving. I mean, look, lots to look forward to.
And we talked about
34
there's going to be a big crew going down to Philly.
As long as everybody's down.
Yeah.
If we can get a crew we
gotta go.
We got it.
If the crew's going, that's the safest time to go.
Yes, exactly. Add final thoughts.
Shitty the way that we went out. I was super depressed that Monday.
Oh, Monday sucked.
And again, it's just one of those things. It's just the way that we lost. But
yeah.
You know what? Life goes on. We got a lot to talk about. I enjoy our off season, like Alex said. We knew we were going to be talking about whatever there was. Like we ain't gone. We don't go anywhere. We dealt the Sahara Desert of Cowboys and NFL news before. We're going to be here again. So if you're out there listening and you want your Cowboy dosage, come to the Can Fan crew.
I like it. Okay, and then final thought here for me. I like what Ad said there. The Cowboys might have not improved. Can Fan will improve. This offseason is going to be better than last year, better than the year before, and better than our starting season. AJ already kind of highlighted the main things. I also want to give a shout out. We have got ourselves a Patreon page.
Oh,
I know we're those guys. We got a Patreon. It's just up there. It's another thing, another social media thing to hit up.
We're going to be building that out.
We're going to be building that out more. But we're here for the offseason, man. Of course, it sucks that the Cowboys aren't in the big dance anymore. But Cowboys Can Fan is here to stay.
Sundays and Wednesdays, we go live all season and off season. Most likely Wednesdays are our main show. We'll be streaming the rest of the playoffs. So
catch us tomorrow. Tomorrow, streaming Packers, Niners. We'll probably be live, 10 minutes before the game? Like, we're not going to go hour before. 10 minutes before the game. Come by, come see us. Cowboys Nation, we will be here. We're your solace in this dark, dark time, son.
Oh.
Did our song run out?
There we go.
And it's back.
Hey.
That's perfect. That's done. That's out.
Done.
That's done.
Okay.
That's done with the season.
Season over. We got a new outro. We'll figure it out. But for right now, I just want to give a big shout out to all y'all in Can Fan Nation and Cowboys Nation. We love you all.
All you Can Fan maniacs out there.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, son.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, baby.